Finals 2025 form a central feature of Crime Awareness Month, which is being observed under the theme From Fear to Citizen Empowerment, Safer Streets, Stronger Communities. And this year's competition is especially meaningful as it is taking place during the 30th anniversary of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit. And that deserves a round of applause as well, going for 30 years. CJRPU, congratulations. The unit's milestone anniversary offers the perfect backdrop for the second hosting of the competition, which is dedicated to amplifying youth voices and perspectives on crime prevention. The Speak Off is not just a contest. It is an opportunity for young people to step forward as problem solvers, advocates, and leaders in their own right by encouraging youth to share ideas, persuasive arguments, and creative solutions. The competition embodies the shift from fear and passivity to empowerment and active citizenship. My name is Anthony Green, and it's a great privilege to be the moderator for this event this evening. We'll have right now addressing us the director of the CJRPU, Mrs. Cheryl Willoughby.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know how to follow Anthony with that introduction. I want to thank Alison, the director of the National Peace Program, for partnering with the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit in making sure that this activity took place this evening. But I cannot stand here as director without acknowledging the fantastic, hardworking, dedicated, I can't think of another adjective to describe my wonderful staff. And I want them to come up here and take a bow. It is not about me at all. I could not do this without these young men and women who lift me up every day. You see the director, but you don't see. I asked y'all to come up here. You see the director, but you don't see the team that is behind me making sure that it is done. I want you to give these young men and women a round of applause. These are the ones who coordinated, who did the hard work, who every day came to me and said, Director, we have an issue, let's resolve it. I could not do it without you, and I want to publicly acknowledge and thank you for your hard work, your dedication. Thank you. Now, y'all want to do this welcome? All right, thanks again. Now, it is important that we give our youth a voice. And I think that that's what we are doing here this afternoon. We are giving them a voice. We are listening to them regarding what they believe are some of the issues we need to tackle as a department, as a ministry, as people of Barbados. It's important that we understand that the youth voice, that voice is critical to the solution that we seek regarding crime and violence in our country. And so this evening, I am happy that we have participants who work hard along with their parents to put together presentations that I'm sure we will be proud of. What we also want as a department is for you, the parents, to forward those presentations to us because we want to make them part of our research process. We are going to use your recommendations as part of our policy implementation as well as policy creation ideas. So we need to have them so that your voices can be heard as part of the solution for Barbados.
Let me tell you what the judges are looking for. They will be assessing based on research and evidence, factual grounding and credibility. They're also looking at organization, clear structure, logical flow, persuasiveness, strength of argument and ability to convince. They're looking at delivery, presentation, clarity, and audience engagement. That's what they're looking for in case you are scoring as we go on this evening.
Breaking news. A local community uses social media to locate a missing child in just 2 days. But minutes later, a post sparks widespread panic about a fake threat. Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Judges, personnel of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's society, where social media can either strengthen community vigilance or spread fear. Firstly, social media can be very beneficial in the prevention of crime. It allows people to share warnings, updates, and safety tips instantly. Law enforcement and community groups can alert or be alerted through these platforms, leading to communities becoming aware of crimes in real time or near real time. In fact, a 2014 survey by LexisNexis Risk Solutions in the United States found that 51% of law enforcement professionals use social media for crime prevention, 63% use it for investigations, 34% use it to notify the public about emergencies, and 67% agreed that it's an effective tool for anticipating crime.
Fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, helplessness. These are the emotions of many communities, especially this Nelson Street community that we are in. Where there was a mass shooting just last September, 3 people died and another 10 were injured. Master of Ceremonies, honorable judges, distinguished guests, representatives of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached an unprecedented time in our history where crime and gun violence continues to plague our communities. We must understand how empowering citizens can create safer neighborhoods. I will be exploring emotional intelligence as the foundation for positive behavior change, in addition to the role of schools within communities. It saddens me every time I hear another person shot dead. If we continue down this road, what society will there be for me, my children, your children, and our children's children? The crime rate may be driven by a few persons, but we share a collective responsibility as brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles within this quest for unity. With Barbados recording 49 murders in 2024 and already 40 for this year, we are heading down a very dangerous slope. In the words of John King, how many more? An emotionally intelligent person possesses self-awareness of their identity, the ability to identify what and how they're feeling, competence in connecting on an emotional level with others, selflessness, ultimately, an understanding of the power of choice. This must be the foundation of community empowerment. To everyone hearing my voice, I am making a clarion call for all of us to stop, and evaluate our own social spaces and make an intentional decision to become empowered with information that improve our thought processes and our ability to connect and create that much needed unity within our communities. With statistics clearly highlighting men and boys as the main perpetrators and victims of violence, we must understand the need to keep men and boys empowered and positively engaged.
The greatness of our community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. Master of ceremonies, judges, ladies and gentlemen. The previously mentioned quote was by Coretta Scott King, who is an advocate for civil rights and social justice. Barbados is experiencing a troubling increase in violence, crime, and domestic harassment, especially affecting women. According to the Domestic Violence Protection Orders Act, Section 2, which states, and I quote, "Domestic violence means the willful infliction or threat of infliction of harm by one person in a domestic relationship upon another." Therefore, violence, crime, and harassment are not just social concerns. They are direct violations of our laws. Additionally, at the 2025 Social Partnership meetings, leaders from the police service, pastors, educators, bankers, and the media echoed the same concern. Barbados must rebuild its communities from the ground up. As one editorial said, the long-term solution to crime is the presence of trusted adults who take responsibilities, not only for their own children, but those in their communities. Our neighborhoods need structure, our survivors need support, and our country needs cohesion. The first initiative would recruit community members, especially reform-offended mentors, to act as violent interrupters. These individuals would mediate disputes, mentor at-risk youth, and report growing serious tensions out of their control. This initiative was inspired by the Cure Violence model, which led a 45% drop in violent crime in Port of Spain, Trinidad. That is not too far away from our country. Some communities may resist the involvement of former offenders due to stigma or mistrust. But if we implement a community vetting process to highlight the credibility, transformation, and impact of these mediators, we can build trust.
Master of ceremonies, esteemed judges, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to draw your attention to the double-edged sword of social media in crime awareness. While social media can be a powerful tool in establishing resistance against crime in Barbados, it also has a certain amount of risk to it, such as the spread of misinformation, the harassment directed towards individuals who are particularly innocent, including those related to the criminals who are supposedly the perpetrators, as well as the risk of harmful and fake news and gossip going viral. A country's crime rate is largely responsible for the drops in tourism as well. Negative news and horrifying events that inflict fear spread globally like wildfire, and they are accessible to people across the globe with the push of a button. With the increase in crime, this leads to significant losses in various fields, especially those related to tourism, such as restaurants, leisure facilities, hotels, airlines, and other tourism-related industries. The indirect economic impact extends to sectors indirectly linked to tourism, such as food production, retail, and transportation. Let's focus on sharing positive news, memorable experiences of our youth, communities, and country with beautiful white beaches and romantic sunsets. More visitors to the island equals more revenue, which secures more jobs to support more families, which leads to better livelihoods. Living more secure lives leads to less need, less greed, and more importantly, less crime.
Before the police arrive, another post about a young man shooting another. 3,000 likes. White collar crime, the first one to produce his story. Like by Gunman Troy, like by Ricky Shooter. Free my bros. Yo, 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 free my dogs. Well, that got nothing to do with me. Good night. My name is Lumiere Clark. I'm a participant of the King's Trust International Team Program located at Draxall Resort Center. Tonight I'll present to you the double-edged sword of social media and crime awareness. A double-edged sword, a coin with two sides. Social media is an endless world of opinions, emotions, happiness, and hate. But how can two sides of one coin look so completely different? Social media is an endless world of opinions, emotions, happiness, and hate. A double-edged sword. Alright, sorry. We like to say the algorithm chooses what we see. But let's be honest, we choose the algorithm. There's a Bible verse that speaks directly to this. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." But today, our tongue is also our share button, our retweets, our reposts, our comments. So if your feed is filled with negativity, violence, gossip, and fear, it's because somewhere along the way, something in it caught your attention. You fed the algorithm, now it feeds you. And slowly, without realizing, you start to think like that, dress like that, talk like that, and even want to be that. Because social media doesn't just show us the world, it shapes how we see the world and eventually how we see ourselves. And this is where the double-edged sword of social media and crime awareness truly shows itself. About 60 to 65% of the entire world is on social media. 60 to 65%. That's more than half the human entire population. One swipe, one share, one post, and instantly the whole island knows something has happened. Someone posts gunshots blazing at Sheraton. Before any facts are confirmed, before the police say a word, Barbados is already in chaos. Mothers calling children, people leaving work early, group chats flooding like a storm warning. But 2 hours later, we found out it wasn't a shootout, it was a car backfiring.
Social media is a tool. Social media is an asset. Social media is a strength which we can pivot on to improve our society and its communities. However, social media leads to propaganda. Social media leads to conflict. Social media leads to mistrust and misrepresentation of our reality. This is the twisted sword of social media. Masters of ceremony, esteemed judges, ladies and gentlemen, what is social media? Social media, as defined by University of South Florida, is an internet-based form of communication. We know these forms such as WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. The question is whether we use these commodities to their purpose. I want to speak specifically to crime awareness, social media, and how it increases our vigilance. It is my belief that social media is used in relation to crime awareness adequately. You may ask, how so? Take for example the various platforms that post the daily incidences from robberies to theft to illegal possessions. unforgettable by the variety of comments. But does this increase our vigilance? I would hope that that's the outcome. We could only hope that the information displayed is read and understood by the citizens and the perpetrators to alleviate the occurrences. However, the gravity of this situation is only understood when it is you in the position. It is only understood when you are robbed outside of the bank. It is only understood when you are slapped in the face at your workplace. It is only understandable when it is you going from point A to point B and being interrupted by somebody who can't understand that what is yours is not theirs. We all are going through things that frustrate us at times, things that anger us, and things that cloud our judgment. What sets us apart is how we handle these things, how we understand the why, how we understand the how, and when we understand the reason for us being in this situation. Now, I could stand here and only talk and argue for the problem. I could attack the problem, but I will not. I will give a solution. The solution is community outreach via digital platforms. For us to understand why these things happen, we must first go to the source, the people. We must figure out, what do the people want? Why is there so much violence? Why is violence always targeted to a specific demographic? These are the questions that need to be answered before we can put laws in place to govern the conversation. When we can sit down and have this conversation and understand the meat of the matter, the problem. What is the problem?
We live in a world where social media is like everything. From the latest news, the biggest scandals, from celebration to crisis, social media is now a part of our lives, and like many powerful tools, it is deeply connected to crime prevention. Massive ceremonies, esteemed judges, specially invited guests, team leaders, fellow contestants, ladies and gentlemen, good night. The use of social media platforms in Barbados offers several advantages for crime awareness, primarily by facilitating the rapid dissemination of information, fostering community engagement, and supporting the Barbados Police Service's efforts to crime management. Social media platforms enable the swift sharing of crime-related information, including alerts about ongoing incidents, descriptions of suspects, and details of recent criminal activities. This immediate dissemination can significantly reduce response times for both citizens and law enforcement, potentially preventing further crime or aiding in the apprehension of perpetrators. Platforms like TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, WhatsApp, while sometimes associated with cyberbullying and online harassment, can also be powerful tools for community watch groups and neighborhood safety incidents. Barbadians can report suspicious activities, share safety tips, and discuss local crime trends, creating a more informed and vigilant populace. This collective effort aligns with the people-centered, regionally coordinated program approach highlighted by CARICOM Impact in their cybersecurity awareness campaigns, which aims to empower populations with the knowledge and tools for digital safety and crime awareness. Who in this audience does not watch Wanted Mondays? That is published online by the Barbados Police Service. This direct line of communication can enhance transparency and build trust between the police and the community, underscoring the need for effective coordinated response mechanisms, which means we as agents have to play a part. Make use of these digital spaces
and make our beautiful island Barbados not only safer and stronger, but more united.
Master of ceremonies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we stand here today united by one single sacred desire: to ensure that the communities we call home are places of peace and safety. But a dark shadow has been cast, a dark shadow called fear. Fear tells us to retreat, to lock our doors, to distrust the stranger next door. But when fear becomes our sole response to crime, it ceases to be a shield and becomes a prison. It locks us in and leaves our communities vulnerable. So my argument today is simple yet profound. Safer Barbadian communities require empowerment over fear. As a nation built firmly upon religious and moral pillars, we know the counsel of Scripture regarding fear. The Bible does not teach us to live in timidity. Instead, it offers a powerful mandate of action and confidence. In 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, we're reminded, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of peace, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. Recent data from the Barbados Crime Observatory reveals a deeply concerning reality. We have seen significant alarming increases in violent crimes, particularly those driven by the use of a firearm. In 2024, Barbados recorded 49 murders, with a staggering 70% of those slayings involving the use of a firearm. This surge pushed our murder rate per capita to one of the highest it has ever been in our history. Now, for 2025, the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit reported 28 murders just for the first 6 months of the year. Now, this sheer terror and instability caused by these surges in gun violence has amplified the fear across every parish. This is a targeted, brazen kind of violence that requires a collective, courageous response, and we cannot afford to let this statistic define us.
It is refreshing to have come and to hear the speeches that I heard. You all have to give these young people a round of applause because they're outstanding. And if you listen to the narrative in Barbados, you would think that only people who are on the streets doing nonsense are the young people, right? But maybe that might be true. You might see some young people doing nonsense, but the leaders of this country are also young people. Because those persons we saw tonight are future leaders of this country. I want to give them and the other persons who would have been in the preliminaries a round of applause, because Barbados is definitely in safe hands. And people will want us to believe that young people are the problem, or part of the problem, but I believe that young people are the solution, and definitely part of the solution. And if we can work together with the young people, they work closest, they know it. They say that schools, we pretend that it may not be true, but they know a lot of what we're denying in this country. They see it in their schools, they feel the pressure on the streets. It is outstanding when you can have persons run up in the country now under certain pressure and are still able to make it. I want to thank you for your resilience. I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you for what you will represent to Barbados in the future, but I want to thank you for what you are doing now. You are role models for a number of people, and you are all very outstanding. Thank you all very, 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 very much. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the parents, the schools. I want to thank you, Ms. Willoughby, for organizing this event, and you, Alison, as well, for being part of this event. I think this is important. I think it's important that we talk about these things, because many people may think that when we discuss crime, people want to know, oh, there's been another murder. Oh, how many people have been shot? As if it is all statistics. At the end of the day, these are people with families, with lives, people who love them, with names, who had relationships, who had dreams, who had future. Every time we lose somebody, we lose a potential opportunity for Barbados. We have to continue to nurture and to protect our young people. And I want to thank you. I want to ask you to use your leadership in the schools to make sure that your voice is heard on the important issues. The one advice that I give young people that I speak to is don't only speak on youth issues. Speak on all the issues. Speak on issues pertaining to disabilities. Speak on issues pertaining to the elderly. Speak on issues pertaining to the economy. Because all these things affect you. And at the end of the day, we only get to lead for a moment, but this is really your time. You know, most of us know Barbados has an average age of about 45 to 47. Most of us in Barbados are over that. 25% of us are over 65. We are an old population. This is no longer our time. I hate to break it to your parents. This is their time. We have to make sure that we give them a world that they can make the best of, that they can contribute to. We encourage them and we support them. There's more good things happening in Barbados than negative things, but you will never know it. I guarantee you that if these 8 young people were involved in violent incidents, you will see that on the front page tomorrow. But they're here doing an outstanding thing, and I encourage the newspapers to put that on the front page tomorrow, so that people can know there are positive things happening in this country, because Barbados is still the best place in the world to live. Don't let anybody fool you.
In number 3 position, with a total of 240 points, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for, hailing from the Barbados Youth Parliament, Ramar Corbin. 240 points, only 2 points separating Ramar and the second place finisher in the Speak Off tonight, hailing from the King's Trust International, 18 years old, with a total of 242 points. In second position, we have Lumiere Clark. And it's only now left for me to announce the winner of the Speak Off competition for 2025 with a total of 271 points. Hailing from the Men Empowerment Network Support, doing a presentation called Safer Barbadian Communities Require Empowerment Over Fear, Empowering Communities, a call to action. The winner is to Carrie Sargent. And to know Sir Takari, he stepped forward even before I called the name. He knew it was him. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, put your hands together for Takari. These young people, they did an awesome job. Yeah, Takari Sargent, yes.
It is my privilege to offer a heartfelt thanks to everyone who helped make today's event a successful one. First, to our judges, Veronica Jones and Sonia Hutt. Thank you for lending your time, expertise, and thoughtful evaluation for today's Speak Off competition. Deepest appreciation also goes to Judge Beverly Paris, not only for her time and evaluation today, but for also graciously sharing her time, knowledge, and expertise in preparing the finalists for today's event, and for guiding the department in successfully hosting all of the Speak Off. I extend my sincere appreciation to today's timekeeper, Miss Gail Peters, for her careful attention in monitoring the time of each contestant. To our contestants, we applaud your passion, courage, and expressiveness. To our winners, congratulations on your well-deserved victory. You have all helped make this Speak Off competition an inspiring and unforgettable experience. A heartfelt thanks goes to the director, Ms. Cheryl Willoughby, for her opening remarks and support throughout the Crime Awareness Month, and to our moderator, Mr. Anthony Green, for his skillful overseeing of today's Speak Off competition. We extend sincere appreciation to the Honorable Kurt Humphrey, MP and Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, for his thoughtful remarks, and to the Director, Alison Roach Plummer, and her team MPP, for their continuous support of the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit's work and Crime Awareness Month activities. Special thanks to the CJRPU team, the technical crew, and everyone working behind the scenes, including Miss Day Harrison and her team, as well as StarCom, for making it possible for this event to be broadcast live.